Hey, my friends. I think I'm live. Yeah. All right. So I'm really excited for today's topic. I feel like everything we've done up to this point is really about or is culminating into this part 4, which is really about exploring and becoming the bigger version of you, both somatically in your body and also from an identity perspective, so that you can receive and hold a lot more, a lot bigger without any kind of friction. So today is all about capacity and spaciousness, how to increase your capacity so that you can create more and you can hold more, you can receive more, because here's the truth: you can only receive as big as you are. In our last training, we really talked about the importance of releasing resistance and any kind of chronic tension that is held in the body. And part 3 is a foundational piece to what we're going to do today, because expanding your capacity is impossible if you're all kind of tight and constricted and armored, and you can't literally be in the flow of things. You can't be open and relaxed enough to receive what you desire, let alone hold it. So what we're doing today is we're kind of taking this to the next step. Once you have dissolved your habitual armoring and the habitual tension and resistance, then your next step after that, when you're relaxed, when you're open, when you lean back, is to start to expand, is to start to become even bigger and to really start to embody what I call your immensity, or in this case, your boundlessness, your boundless body, boundless money. See the little link. So first we remove the contraction. I'm feeling in a silly mood, just so you know. Then we bring about some degree of somatic liberation. That's the way it feels when you start to really release that resistance, release the drama, the traumas, the disappointments. Essentially, you're releasing your past, both your own personal past and also your legacy past, the past from your family of origin and your ancestors. So you're liberating yourself from the past. And then the next step is you start to really step into expansion. So we have contraction, then liberation, then expansion. And the more you expand tangibly your body and your sense of identity, the more you expand what you have, the ability, the capacity, the readiness to create, to receive, and to hold, whether that is clients, like receiving more clients, whether that's money, whether that's visibility and impact, whether that's even intimacy and support and connection in relationships, or whether that is a sense of authority, certainty, sovereignty, and creativity in yourself, in your body, in your life. So the bigness of the life and the success that you can create out there is always a mirror of the bigness that you can feel and embody in here. Your capacity is always a reflection of your level of expansion and your level of embodied spaciousness and sovereignty. So that's what we're going to dive into today. And then at the end, I will give you a practice that you can start to use right now to really shift who you are physically, biologically, neurologically, and also from an identity perspective. So before I dive into this, I want to take a minute to introduce myself. If you've watched the other videos in this series, I'm going to also invite you to a special I have for my somatic mastermind that I'm calling March Money and Miracles Special. So if you're new here, or if you don't know me, welcome. I'm Elsa. Please feel free to say hi to me. Let me know where you're watching this from. I'm in Boulder, Colorado. Today is sunny, which makes me happy, and actually warmer. Personally, I am a total spiritual nerd. I'm a complete bookworm, and I'm a little bit of a hermit. I like my space. I like my alone time. I'm also a nature lover. I'm a dog mama. And so usually on the weekends, you can find me doing a combination of all these things, being with my dogs outside, reading, something like that, if weather allows. Professionally, for the last 20 plus years, I've worked as a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, and a strategist. I work with all sorts of people, but mainly I work with high-level service providers and transformational leaders, and I help them to rewire their nervous system, their brain, their bodies, and their businesses for easeful growth, for consistent growth and results, essentially consistent results, and also new levels of exciting, but also deeply supportive and nourishing wealth and money. I essentially help them be more so they can create more and they can receive more without any kind of friction, without second guessing themselves, without stressing out, without sabotaging their progress. So if that calls to you, and you're curious at the very least, then I want to invite you to click the link in the description of this video. It's a Google Doc. It's super simple. It's going to take you through my entire program, the expansion experience. And it's going to essentially give you exactly what's included in it, exactly what we do, exactly what kind of results you can expect to experience and create in your life and in your business. And it will give you the price. And like I said, right now I'm doing the March Money and Miracles special. You can save up to $1,400. And I have a really low price to entry because I want this to be accessible. And in this day and age, I know that this is the work that we all need to be able to get to this new level, a new paradigm, a new way of being, and a new level of receivership in a way that feels deeply safe, deeply nourishing, deeply fulfilling. So that's what I want for you. That's what I want for every client I have. And for those of you who've been thinking of working with me, I have this special to make it really easy for you to jump in. All right. Enough of that. I'll go deeper into the expansion experience at the end of this training. But for now, let's get started with today's training. So here's the big idea behind this training. You can only receive as big as you are. And that's true biologically, energetically, somatically, but it's also true in terms of how you perceive yourself, your identity. So sometimes I call this part of the process the pathway of plenty. So like we've talked about, I think it was part 2, we had the path of pleasure, like increasing your quantity by increasing the quality of your receivership. Then last video, we talked about the path of peace, essentially releasing all the resistance and all the internal war and internal friction and conflict that we have so that we can be open and relaxed and available to receive what we want, essentially bringing taking the bridge and bringing it down so that things can start to flow in. And so that was the path of peace, because when you're not in resistance to life or to yourself, you're at peace. And then today is the path of plenty. And what I mean by plenty, it's this concept of almost knowing that there is more than enough and that you are more than enough. So the path of plenty is about being more, being plenty. I am plenty. There is plenty. I have plenty. And so plenty for me represents a sense of bigness. So when you marry pleasure and peace, which we've done already, then the next step to increasing your profits is to step into that paradigm of plenty, of being plenty and having plenty. I am more than enough, and there is, and I have more than enough. So if you want to change your receiving paradigm, you essentially, and this has been the topic right through this entire series, but you essentially have to change your body, your neurology, and your identity, and you have to embody a bigger version of you. And when you embody a bigger version of you, then you increase your capacity to receive and hold what you want without getting triggered, because that's the big thing here. We've all heard of people who have like a windfall, whether it's they have an amazing launch or whether it is they win the lottery or they receive a bunch of money from something. But so you can receive more without being more. The question then becomes, can you keep it? Can you hold it? Can you replicate it? And that's where it gets harder, because for most of us, if we have not readied, prepared our body and our identity for the results we want by becoming bigger, then once we receive them, something in us starts to constrict and contract and feel not good enough, or start to be anxious about it, or something happens and we start to sabotage the whole process. And that's where you see people who've won the lottery who literally lose it all and end up worse off a few years after. That's also where you see, I've seen a lot of that in my work with leaders and entrepreneurs, like having a huge month and then suddenly something in their system says, oh shit. And then they enter what I call the desert, where literally now nothing's working. Nothing's working. They can't replicate their results. And there's all sorts of friction happening around this bigness that they've received. And that's because they literally were not ready somatically and from an identity perspective to receive it and hold it. So what we're talking about here is we're back to quality and quantity. Like we're really talking about becoming this next level, bigger version of you, both from a neurological as well as an identity perspective, so that you can receive more quantity, but you can receive it with huge amounts of ease and joy and effortlessness and nourishment. You can receive it with quality. So this work, what we're talking about today, is really about realizing, claiming, and embodying your vastness and your immensity. And when you do that, when you start to realize, claim, and embody the grandeur of you in here, in here, in here, then automatically you start to create more capacity and you start to step into sovereignty. You start to experience a sense of limitlessness and readiness, like centeredness, groundedness, certainty, that no matter what life brings you, you've got this. And so at a subtle level, what we're talking about here is an unwavering sense of safety and trust. And I'm going to go into that a little more as we continue to talk about this. But when it comes to receiving and holding, I want you to think of it and imagine yourself as a container. Like you are the container of your life. You are the recipient of your life. You receive it and then you hold it. And that's true in your personal life, but that's true in your professional life. And that's true in your wealth. So I want you to think of receiving and you as a container of that receivership. If the container is small, you can only put so much in it. If the container is big, you can put a lot more in it. So for example, if the container is a cup, then you can put like 12, 16 ounces in there. If the container is a pool, you can put a shit ton more water in there. But if the container is infinite or extremely vast, then your potential for receiving, for holding is limitless. So that's the difference between a cup, a bucket, a pool, and maybe an ocean. And what we're doing here is we're becoming an ocean so that we can stop making everything hard and so that we can stop limiting our capacity to receive what we want, including, by the way, our capacity to dream, our capacity to want. Because oftentimes before receiving, there is checking in to see to what degree are we keeping our desire small out of a need to not be disappointed. So this work is a continuation of rewiring yourself to open, to expand, and to become essentially in this next step as spacious as you dare. To become the version of you who basically feels like a giant, who feels limitless, who feels destined to create and receive anything you desire, and feels capable of holding it and of moving through it and through anything that comes your way gracefully. So we're doing this work in the nervous system. We're doing it in the body and in our brain in terms of our beliefs, the way we think, like in our minds. And the ripple of all of that is a new identity. And a new identity always includes a new body to some degree or another. This is, oh God, this is not in my notes, so I'm riffing at this point. But like people who have multiple personalities, like literally when they enter into a new personality, their bodies will change. Their eye color will change. Like in certain personalities, they'll have diseases, but in other personalities, they won't. Like literally, your sense of identity is so powerful that it shifts your body. But it's also true that shifting your body will allow you to embody and claim a new identity. So we're working on it from both sides. And for me, I actually feel that shifting somatically is one of the easiest way to start to become somebody new, somebody who has the capacity to create and hold everything you want. If you've watched me for a while and you've watched a number of my videos, you might have heard me say this before, but I think sometimes the issue that a lot of us have, and I'm going to include myself in that, with creating the level of abundance, the level of growth, the level of impact that we desire to have in our life and in our business, is that the wrong version of us is running the show or is at the wheel. So we're like 4-year-olds walking in our mother's high heels or trying to drive the race car. And we're wondering why it all feels so damn hard why we're not succeeding, while we're not getting the results and the outcome that we want. And that's because literally the wrong part of us, the wrong version of us, the wrong identity is trying to make it happen. So what we're doing here by becoming a bigger container is literally we're making sure that the right version of us is actually showing up, is executing, is maybe even making decisions in our life, in our business, so that we can actually get the results we want. So this, when we're talking about becoming a bigger container, we're really talking about two main things: capacity and sovereignty. And they kind of go together. The more sovereignty you have, the more capacity you have. The more capacity you have, the more sovereign you feel. So when we're expanding into our next level, what we're doing is we're literally claiming and embodying a new level of sovereignty, or a sovereign self. And we are deciding on new sovereign standards of living, standards of showing up, standards of how we're going to lead, so that we can have the capacity necessary to carry out, to execute, to show up, and to receive from that level of bigness. And so part of the question here, at least from an identity standpoint, is where are your standards in your life, in your business, not coming from a place of sovereignty, but they're actually coming from a place of feeling small. And so what are you putting up with? What are you tolerating? How, like, are your prices, are the way you're being treated in relationships, are what you're asking from your team, like all of that, is that coming from sovereignty? And are your standards in that, and what you're expecting from that, coming from a place of sovereignty? And so that, I want to invite you, this is not the exercise I'm going to give you for today, but it's a little bit of like starting to shift paradigm and starting to look at your life and to look at what feels aligned with sovereignty and what doesn't. So how big you feel internally, how boundless, strong, grounded, and powerful your body feels externally, tangibly, all of that defines who you are. It defines how you show up, and it defines how people perceive you. And so this is why really embodying a new standard of sovereignty and claiming your bigness and your boldness is so important. Because if you feel small, if you feel powerless, if you show up from that sense of smallness and powerlessness, literally, that's what people see. And when that happens, you will really limit you will limit the way that you and them can dance, whether that is in an intimate relationship or in a business setting, whether that means that they're a partner that you want to partner with, or they're a potential client. And so if you are in your smallness, what you will notice is people are only willing to play small with you, meaning they'll partner with you, but they'll partner with you on something really small, or they won't want to pay you what you're worth. They'll be willing to work with you, but they will be at the lowest level possible, or they won't be committed. So they'll show up small. They won't do the work. They'll be late. They're literally not embodying the transformation that you're providing and being a victim in it. They'll be in their own smallness. So that's why, from a perspective of income and impact, and even from a perspective of feeling deep joy and nourishment in your life, personally and professionally, your level of bigness is so damn important. So how does this work? What are we focusing on when we are working on this aspect, and when we are rewiring our body and our identity for bigness, for sovereignty, for capacity? So you do this in a number of ways. And by the way, this is the deep work that I do in my program or in my mastermind. So the first thing we're really doing here is we're literally rewiring our nervous system to start to feel safe being and expressing more and more of yourself. So, oftentimes people think that when we're talking about becoming sovereign or becoming a bigger container, that we're talking about becoming somebody that we're not. And I actually want to shift that. For me, from my own personal experience and from working with literally hundreds, maybe even thousands of clients at this point, what has what has become true and what I've seen to be true is that actually sovereignty is not about becoming somebody you're not. It's about removing everything that's in the way of you being the truth of you and you feeling a deep sense of permission to be all of you. And for most of us, especially if we didn't have super traumatic childhoods, we can remember a time where we were big. And I don't mean big physically. We might have been very young, but there was something about us. Like we felt unstoppable. We felt undeniable. We felt like what we wanted was ours to have, or we would have a tantrum over it. Like we were not apologetic. We were not constricted. We were in our bigness. And so I think what I really want to leave with you today is the sense that who you're becoming is who you already are. You're not needing to become somebody new. There's nothing wrong with you. You're actually removing all the falsehood. You're removing everything that is not you. And in that, you start to feel safer and safer being the truth of you and expressing that truth. So at this level, we're rewiring the nervous system to start to claim that it is safe for you to be big, it is safe for you to be bold, and it is safe for you to express that truth, that bigness, that boldness fully. And sometimes, and I talk about this in my program. I have a couple different practices and I have one of the modules that talks about that, but it's really about moving into an embodied somatic knowing that it is safe for me to be me. It is safe for me to be here. It is safe for me to be big. It is safe for me to express my truth. It is safe for me to want what I want. Not a smaller version of what I want, but the fullness of what I want. And it is safe for me to ask it and to go after it. So I think a lot of us don't realize how much of us becoming sovereign and becoming a bigger version of us has to do with safety. How much of capacity has to be anchored through safety. So that first step that we're working on here is to start to embody and to start to relax the nervous system into feeling safe being you and feeling safe being here and then feeling safe being big and wanting big and going after big and expressing big. So the first step is always anchoring safety with this next level in your nervous system. So that's first, that's what we're working on here in terms of embodying your bigness and shifting your identity to a next level of being. The second thing that we're doing, once you have safety down, for me, like this is, by the way, a natural progression of safety. Once you have safety down, you start to anchor the nervous system and your body and your identity into a new level of trust and certainty. And it's a sense when you start to feel really safe being you, really safe being here, really safe being big, you naturally start to trust and to have a sense of certainty that no matter what comes at you or to you or for you, good or bad, you have what it takes to hold it, to figure it out, to make it work, to grow it, to replicate it, to hold it. So here, at this level of work in the nervous system, in the body, we are expanding your emotional and your resilience capacity. Because here's the truth: no amounts of growth comes without some degree of friction, some degree of setbacks, some degree of things not working. And that's true in intimate relationships. That's true in our health. That's true in our business and our wealth. What's important here is not that you never have setbacks, that you never have failures, that you never have moments where things are hard. What's important is that you are so anchored in you, in your own being, in your own knowing, in feeling connected to your purpose and feeling supported by life, that you don't crumble, that you don't constrict, contract, and essentially withdraw when things don't go your way. That you have enough trust to know, oh, even this is part of the process. I've got this. So when you're expanding your emotional and your resilience capacity, you naturally can start to trust yourself, to trust your desires, and to trust life at a much deeper level. And because of that, everything becomes simpler. Even when it's not working, it's still working. And obviously, when we're talking about this new level of emotional resilience and a sense of trust and certainty, that is directly related to sovereignty. The more you trust yourself, the more you feel certain about what you want and that you can handle anything that comes your way, the more you are literally in your sovereignty. Because you're realizing in that moment that you are bigger and stronger than anything outside of you, than anything that could come for you. So that's the second place that we're working on. We're working on safety first, then we're working really on this unwavering sense of trust and certainty in yourself, in your path, in life, in God, whatever you might look at it. Once you have that, once you have a certain level of safety and trust and certainty, what you're doing next is you're really going back into the soma, into the body, and you're starting to normalize what you want. So you start to normalize your goals, your desires in your body and in your brain so that they don't feel so big, so that they don't feel so far away. You start to, and this, I do a lot of that work through my somatic calibration process that I do live in our retreats that I do every month. And I also teach it as part of the curriculum, step by step, you get it. But in the somatic calibration process, what we're doing is we're making everything you desire start to feel normal, natural, and no big deal to your body. It's almost like we're imprinting expectation. Like, so we're imprinting that sense of certainty. Of course, I'm going to have this. Like, there's almost like your body tangibly, you start to expect the results you want. And you start to have this sense of certainty that getting what you want the way you want it is totally normal, totally natural, and is like second nature to you. And because of that, there's no resistance. Doubt starts to fall away. Any kind of sabotage starts to fall away. Any sense that you're not worthy or ready or deserving of it starts to fall away because it literally starts to feel normal to you. Just like you don't wake up in the morning and have any doubt that you can brush your teeth or that you can make yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. There is an unthought, like, knowing an expectation that you're going to get up and you're going to have your cup of tea and you're going to brush your teeth and you're going to get dressed and you're going to know how to do all of that and you're going to get to have all of that. You never question it. So this level of bigness is about embodying such a degree of normalization and naturalness with what you want that you don't ever question it. You don't ever question that you have what it takes. You don't question that it's possible for you. You don't question. And so a lot of the friction, a lot of the resistance that happens, the things that make our progress feel harder and go slower is a form of doubt in the system. Either a doubt that it's possible overall, or a doubt that it's possible for us, or a doubt that we're going to be able to handle it and we're not going to fuck it up in some ways. So you can see how shifting this, essentially normalizing and becoming a match for what you want, shifts you neurologically, like in your brain, in your body, in your nervous system, but it also shifts your identity. You start to become, through the body, the version of you who actually gets to have what they want, and for whom it happens with ease and naturalness and simplicity, rather than being the version of you who doubts and always has to work hard and sacrifice to have what they want. So we're working on safety, we're working on trust and some degree of certainty that we can handle it all. And then we're working on normalizing and making what we want feel small. Because it feels so normal, it feels like a no big deal. So this is the other piece of it. If I don't know if you can hear that, but my dogs are going crazy. Some other dogs are barking in the neighborhood. And it started a cascade of barks in the neighborhood. And I lost my train of thought. Oh no, I know what I wanted to say. Here's the thing. If what you want feels really big, then automatically by comparison, you feel small compared to it. And it feels far away and it feels hard and it feels like a mountain to climb. But if what you want feels normal, feels no big deal, by comparison, you have automatically made yourself bigger compared to it. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's move on. There's one last piece that I want to bring up in terms of how we make ourselves bigger, how we literally expand our capacity and start to step into sovereignty and bigness and boldness and that next level version of us. So the last step here that I want to bring up is we also do this energetically as well as physically. So energetically, we have a sense of our body and our bigness. Like we know how much space we take. We know where our body ends and life is. And for a lot of us, on an energetic and physical level, we feel small in comparison to the immensity of the world. Even energetically, we know how much life force we have. But what I want you to play with and to consider is that all of that is perception. And all of that can be increased and it can be changed. So you can start to literally expand the boundaries and the borders of your body. So when you close your eyes, for most of us, we feel our body the way our eyes perceive it. It ends right here. It's kind of small in a big chair, but you can actually start to rewire your brain and rewire yourself energetically to start to release and melt away and dissolve the boundaries of your body and to start to expand the sensate, the energetic sensation of your body. So literally moving the boundaries of your body, the borders of your body out. Like you can do it energetically to a degree where rather than feeling like you are in the room, you start to feel so vast that the room is in you, or you are in your house or in your town or in your country. And suddenly you start to feel, I am so big that actually my house, my neighborhood, my city, my state, my country, my planet is in me. So what we're talking about here, again, is energetic, right? It's not that you actually physically and tangibly become that big. That would be weird. But something in your brain and in how you perceive yourself starts to shift. And I have specific practices that you can do to do that. Another aspect of that is when you become energetically spacious in that way, another facet of that is that you can start to increase the level of life force that moves through you, the level of bliss, the level of aliveness, the level of inspiration that is flowing through your body. So there is both, when we're working energetically within the body, there is both shifting the boundaries of the body to become vast, tangibly in spaciousness, right? But there's also shifting the energetic aspect of the body and increasing the level of and the ability or capacity to hold and to feel pleasure, to hold and to feel alive, to hold and to feel wisdom and clarity and sovereignty within us. So that's the bliss, the life force, the aliveness of your body, which is also an energetic aspect. What happens is when you do that, when you're shifting the energetic boundary as well as the energetic life force of your body, and you're increasing that capacity, you start to experience yourself and your sense of presence to be larger than life. In which case, anything and everything that could stand in your way starts to feel insignificant in comparison to the grandeur and the magnificence of you. Now, from a physical standpoint, and this is somewhat related to your energetic, but actually, I think that, and maybe this is like yet another part of it, you can expand your bigness physically by expanding your sense of power, of strength, and of stamina. So when your body feels strong, then your body feels big and powerful. So any kind of like martial arts, weight training, even dancing and increasing your stamina, anything that's going to allow you to feel stronger, to feel more powerful, to feel more grounded, to feel more alive in a physical sense in your body is also an easy way to start to expand your capacity to receive and hold exactly what you want. So let me do a little recap here. When you teach your body to relax, to release fear, to know that you are safe being you and being the bigness of you no matter what, and you start to feel like you can trust yourself, you can trust your path, you can trust what you want, that you've got this no matter what comes your way, and then you start to teach your body and your brain to normalize what you desire, to essentially calibrate and become a match for it and feel like it's no big deal. It's already a done deal. It's already on its way to you. It's yours. Like essentially you're normalizing what you want and you're anchoring expectation for what you want in your body. And then you're showing your body how to take more space energetically and tangibly and how to feel stronger. And you start to realize that your skin, your sense of self, is an arbitrary boundary. Then you also start to realize that the whole universe is in fact your body, which is more like maybe the spiritual, the mystical aspect of this work, which I warned you at the beginning that I'm a spiritual nerd. This whole work is when you're as big as the universe, the whole universe is actually you. You teach your body and your whole being It's immensity. It's vastness. And you start to anchor a certainty within you that no matter what, you have what it takes. No matter what, you're good enough. You're resilient enough. You're smart enough. You're pretty enough or attractive enough. You're smart enough. You're creative enough. That nothing is too big or too much for you to handle. And you start to embody a certainty and knowing that you are made for success. And you start to feel safe with that success. When you do all that, which is exactly what I teach in the expansion experience, your capacity to receive, your capacity to create, your capacity to hold everything you desire with ease increases exponentially because you have become literally a bigger container, not just up here, but in here, in the physicality, in the biochemistry, in the neurology of your body. So now I want to give you a little practice for you to play with this and to start to really start to shift you. In part 6, I'm going to give you more exercises. But for today, here's a simple thing that you can start to do. I want to invite you to start taking more space in your life tangibly. Start to spread out on the couch, in bed. Take space, like when you're walking down the street on the walkway. Take space and let other people move around you. Essentially, start to undo the habit of being small and taking less than you could so that you're leaving more for others. And so you might want to notice, like when you're sitting on the couch, are you kind of like sitting in a corner doing this? Meanwhile, which was one of the things I realized, like I'm sitting in the corner doing this, and meanwhile the dog is like spread out and taking like 3/4 of the couch. It's like the dog doesn't have any issue being the bigness of itself. And so the invitation is to start noticing where you're being small, when you're taking less space energetically and tangibly, where you're maybe not speaking up, and to start to take more than enough. More than enough space on the couch, more than enough space on the bed, more than enough space on the walking trail or the walking path or the walkway, more than enough space in the plane, more than enough space in your office, more than enough space in a meeting or in a networking event where you're not just, you're literally talking, you're leading, you're being louder, you're being more present. Imagine if you were a giant. How much space would you need to be truly comfortable? This is the space I want to invite you to take. And this will start to expand you on all those levels. It will start to start to ingrain a sense of like, oh, maybe it is safe for me to be here and to take more space. It will start to anchor a sense of energetic spaciousness because your presence will grow bigger. It will start to make everything else feel smaller. So you're increasing also your sense of normalizing what you want and normalizing that you have what it takes to hold it. Like it's going to start shifting you both on at a level of physical presence and energetic presence, both in your body and in your identity. It's going to help you start to slowly step into, embody a bigger, bolder, more sovereign, more unapologetic version of you that is no longer satisfied with crumbs. So that's your little homework to play with for this part. And then I will see you in a few days when we're doing part 5. Part 5 is really about activating like somatic wisdom or our own, what I call sometimes right brain genius, and allowing essentially your body to become your partner in life and in business, and to start to guide you in a way that is truly aligned. And to, like for me, part 5 is about realizing that the authority, the knowing, the wisdom has always been in here, that you know the right way for you. So that will be our next little class. And I don't know if it's going to be as long as these. I think it'll be shorter. But anyways, if this work resonates with you and you want to experience the depth of it, you want to learn all the different practices that I have then to help you rewire yourself for bigness, for wealth, for easeful growth, then I really want to invite you to join the expansion experience during this March Money and Miracles special. You can find all the details in the description of this training. If you join now, you can save up to $1,400 depending which level you join at. And you can start for a very accessible amount, because accessibility as well as transparency are part of my values. I want this work to be available for as many people as possible, because I truly feel that safety, capacity, sovereignty are the way to us being truly fulfilled in our life and business. And they're also the way to us creating a new paradigm on this planet, which is dearly needed at this point. So in the somatic mastermind, essentially, what you receive new weekly practices. Every week I send you and give you a new practice to help you calibrate your body into that next level of receivership and release the resistance and all of the stuff that we've talked about in all of these parts in this series. You receive new expansion lessons every month, usually 3 of them, to help you start to shift your paradigm. Expansion lessons are all about shifting paradigm and shifting identity and showing up in your life in a new way, and being able to start to really experience the bigness, the shift in your day-to-day life. There's also, you're going to receive what I call the quantum curriculum, which is going to take you through the entire process step by step and with a lot more depth than we're doing here. And it's going to include like the philosophy, the teachings, practices for you to do. And so essentially it's an entire course. There's 10 modules, but some of these modules are divided in multiple parts. And if you go on the Google Doc that I put together with the training, I literally list the titles so you can get a sense of what's included in that. And then you're also going to get access to an entire expansion library where there are trainings, there are retreats in there, essentially almost anything you would need to shift your identity and to shift your business. Because there's a lot, if you're an entrepreneur, I have a lot of stuff too on messaging and marketing as well. And if you're not, all the retreats are there to really shift your identity and to release you from the past and step into sovereignty. And so this expansion library is there for you to play with as you feel called to help you create both financial and emotional freedom. And then there's support. This isn't just a course. So this is all the stuff you get in terms of content, but you also get 3 mini expansion retreats with me every month where we meet for 90 minutes to 2 hours. I lead you through practices. We explore the different expansion lessons and paradigm shifting lessons during these calls. And then we also have lots of time for sharing, for questions, for customized mentorship so that you can really embody this in your life, in your work, and in your wealth. And then everybody gets some one-on-one sessions with me because I believe strongly in going deep and customizing the process to every person. So there's a couple different levels for you to enroll. And that level has to do with how much one-on-one support you want. But even at the lowest level, which is very accessible financially, you still get a number of sessions one-on-one with me anyways. And when you move forward now, you get a significant savings on all of this. It would be a true pleasure, a true honor to put my 20 years of experience as a psychotherapist, as an expansion expert and a strategist to work for you. I would love to be your guide on this journey of expansion and to help you create next level results in a way that nourishes all of you, your soul, your body, as well as your bank account. So the goal in this somatic mastermind in the expansion experience is to help you feel deeply safe being all of you, fully you, and deeply safe having more of everything you desire in your life and in your business without any friction. So to get all the details, click the link in to the Google Docs in the description. Or if you want to hop on a call with me, like what I say to people is this call is for you if you're ready now, you feel like I'm the mentor for you, and you know that you can afford, at least you can afford it now, but you still have a question or you still want to connect with me, or you maybe want to get my thoughts on which level you should invest at, or maybe you want to work mainly one-on-one with me and you want even more support than the mastermind offers, in which case then book that call. It's free. Let's sit down, let's have a 15, 20, 30-minute conversation and figure it out and make sure that you're set up for success. So before I let you go, if you're still here, I want to just give you a basic sense of what are some of the results, what are some of the shifts that you can expect if you move forward with this work. These are some of the things that my clients have experienced. So if you're an entrepreneur, we're definitely going to look at your business model and figure out how to create a wildly profitable, super simple, stress-free model with recurring revenue. Unless you don't want recurring revenue, I don't know why you wouldn't want, like, that's made all the difference for me in terms of safety and capacity, but just essentially creating a model that is reliable, that gives you money on repeat, and also gives you more freedom and white space to actually live your life. Then you can expect to start to tame the chaos and to become this still and spacious presence through and in any storm, whether that's an internal storm or an external shitstorm. And to start to realize through this work that you are truly the most peaceful and powerful force in your life and in your business. You can also expect to become so safe being you, so authentically you, that all the mask, all the posturing, all the tricks start to drop off and you start to be effortlessly seen in your life, in your business. Opportunities start to find you. Your ideal clients start to find you. And just by who you are, they instantly know that you are the one for them. You can expect to unlock and to activate what I call your boundless body. so that you can start to move past all the invisible barriers that have kept you small, that have kept you silent, all the trauma, the drama of the past that have essentially kept you oppressed within your own life, within your own skin, and have kept your income capped. You can expect to double, triple your prices, your salary, what you're getting paid, and feel so much joy, so much conviction about what you're doing in your work, that you can sell, you can deliver, you can show up with unwavering confidence and just get back the yes, the commitment, the energy that you're putting out. And if you're in sales, if you are an entrepreneur, you can expect to be so in the knowing of what you're doing that sales become easy. Like, people can feel your expansion, they can feel your conviction, they can feel your sense of certainty and your sense of relaxation, and start to feel safe being in your hands, and you start to get one easy yes after the other. You can expect to wake up every morning feeling relaxed, feeling enthused for the day ahead, because you know exactly what to do to move the needles, to make sales, to grow. And you know what to do without overwhelm and without second guessing yourself. You can expect to start to take aligned action with a lot more ease, a lot more flow, so that you can create the consistent results you want, because you will be out of your own way. And you can expect to be able to shift your mood, your energy, your state back to excited, back to motivated, back to peaceful and certain in minutes, no matter what life throws at you. You can expect to create higher levels of revenue from a total place of relaxation, to be able to make more and hold more from a deep sense of safety, with increased capacity, and in the sense of calm confidence that comes with sovereignty. And then lastly, and maybe this is the most important part of it, you can expect to access high levels of joy, of ease, of play in your day-to-day life, and to feel deeply nourished in and by your life, by your business, and by your receivership. So if this resonates, then please join the expansion experience, and join it now when it's on special. We will activate what I call your 7-figure nervous system. We'll calibrate your body, your self-identity. We'll shift your business. We'll do all of that so that you are a match for easeful growth, for impactful visibility, for consistent results, and for exciting new levels of money, of joy, of peace in your life and in your wealth. All right, that's what I have for you. Lastly, if you want to know all the details, the price, everything that's included, exactly what each thing is about and for, click the link in the description of this video and you will get all your answers. Or if you want to chat with me for a bit, book a call. It's free. Okay.